Hi, good morning, everyone. A warm welcome to all our participants. I'm your teacher for today, Teacher Shelly. So today, we are officially kicking off our day 2 of the Maritime English course. And it is an absolute pleasure to see so many dedicated professionals in attendance for the continuation of May Day lesson. So before we dive into our first module, I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude to the Gumyang Shipping Seafarers Union. So this specialized training program that the union requires immense dedication, no? And not just a dedication, but a coordination as well, and a genuine commitment to the crew advancement. All right. And it is entirely thanks to the vision, the hard work, and the strong support of the union itself that organizing this course have been made possible. Okay? And as we all know that in our industry, in the maritime industry, a clear communication is not just about a teamwork, right? It is the foundation of our safety, like environment protection also, and the operational success at sea, right? And by putting this program together, the union has provided us with a powerful tool to elevate your skills and confidently navigate in international waters. Okay? So that's a very nice idea, isn't it? So again, to all our participants, thank you for your time and dedication to continuous learning. Okay? And to the Gumyang Shipping Seafarers Union, thank you for investing so heavily in the future and the safety of our seafarers. So let's make the most of this course. Thank you and have a great training lesson or session ahead. Okay? So we'll start for our week 71st, day 2. All right, welcome everyone. Okay, now we have May Day, right? We have discussed this from our Monday lesson. Now, today is the part 2. We will study or we will discuss about the communication procedures now in real life applications. Okay, so there are lesson contents. First is the Mayday communication procedures. Okay? How are we going to do the communication process? Now, also, we have the emergency equipment that are used during Mayday situations. Of course, there are emergency equipments. And we also have real life emergency Mayday examples. Okay, the phrases. And then I will give also a series of examples of Mayday vocabularies or words, no? Uh, in pattern to our SMCP um, rule. All right, and then why Mayday is important. Okay, so for the last part, it is, of course, the question and answer. Okay? So, for our Mayday communication procedures, okay, let's go to the sequence, the step-by-step emergency communication procedure. Okay. For the step 1, we have to identify what type of emergency we are encountering. We have to evaluate the status to ensure if it is really a grave or or uh, or if it falls in a grave and imminent danger. Okay? The threats, okay, that you are experiencing falls under grave or an in imminent danger, whether if it is human life or for the vessel itself. We have to identify it first before calling a mayday action. And then the next step is to activate now the alarm. All right? Trigger GMDSS general emergency alarms will alert all hands on deck. That is why we have to be very careful in activating the Mayday call. Okay? And the third step is on how you are going to prepare the equipment, like the VHS transmitter. All right? In order to have, in order for the rescuers to receive your call, your Mayday call, through the VHS radio channel 16. And the fourth step, now you were able to identify the emergency situation. You were able to activate the alarm. You were able to prepare the equipment. Now you are ready in sending the Mayday. All right? You have to initiate the voice transmission and then send the standardized distress message format. Okay? Next. Okay. We have here a standard phrases or words in our standard maritime communication phrases. First thing is clarity. It should be very clear. The words, the phrases based on SMCP. You have to use a very simple words based on SMCP, of course. It should be in a slow manner. Okay? It should be in a highly deliberate English. Simple. Okay? You have to speak each phrases or each phrase clearly to minimize distortion. And in order for the receiving side, okay, to understand. Okay? Next, the standard phrases should be based or always through the International Maritime Organization SMCP standards. Right? You have to strictly adhere to the SMCP standard. Use the correct vocabulary words. And lastly, you should avoid slang expressions. Okay? Or your localized vocabulary words or language. Okay? Meaning localized if you are a Chinese, whether you are a Korean or a Japanese or an Australian or a Russian, you have to avoid slang words or accents. Okay? Pattern always the standard phrases based on the IMO. Okay? Always remember that. Okay. Why is it important to repeat the SMCP words or your Mayday call? Okay. It is important because sometimes there are poor signals. Okay? That's why you have to repeat the phonetic letters to ensure a broken or a highly static, heavy voice stream still remains readable or is received properly. Okay? That's the basic importance why we have to repeat the words or the phrases. Okay? And also, we have to prevent misunderstanding. Basically, due to poor signals. Alright? So that's the essence why we have to repeat the phrases. Okay? Another reason, because the importance of repeating spoken information 3 times, right, forms an absolute bedrock of maritime radio telephony rules. That's the reason why we always have to repeat the Mayday call 3 times. And in identifying the vessel, you have to repeat it 3 times. Okay? Alright. Okay. In receiving a Mayday call, an active attention and silence is important here. You have to stop all outgoing shipboard transactions or transmissions. You just focus exclusively on the voice distress channel to minimize auxiliary bridge noises. Okay? And also, immediately notify the captain because he is the only responsible person to do the Mayday call. Alright? Don't forget to log the distress coordinates, your position, the latitude, the longitude, the nature of danger. Okay? And then the readiness of the search and rescue assistance. Okay? That's how you are going to receive a Mayday call. Okay. Now, once you receive the Mayday call, you acknowledge right away. Okay? Because Mayday is a grave and the, the vessel calling is in an imminent danger. The life-threatening call. Alright? So, in acknowledging a Mayday call, whenever, okay, this is the proper, no? This is the proper. The shore stations respond first. Okay? So, the first one should be the Coast Guard station. The first one to receive. Now, if the Mayday call did not push through Okay? We have this, what we call a distress signal that is clearly, for example, one vessel in the vicinity, okay, and was not able to push through with the Mayday call, the vessel B can also transmit that Mayday call. Okay? And also, do not forget, as always, identify the call sign, the name of the vessel, the call sign, the position, your speed, and your ETA to the location. You have to mention that. Okay? That's how you are going to acknowledge a Mayday call. Alright. Let's go to on how we are going to relay now a distress call. The relaying mandate, it says here that a vessel is legally obliged to transmit a Mayday relay if the distressed craft or vessel is unable to transmit its own alert. Okay? Or if the vessel A, the initial distress message went unacknowledged by the rescue authorities, may be due to geographical or propagation limits. The vessel B can relay the Mayday call. Okay? So again, you have to repeat 3 times again, and so on and so forth. Okay? So always preserve your accurate location. Okay. How are we going to end a distress situation? How are we going to terminate the signal? Okay. We have here the silence fini, meaning silence fini. Okay? This is an international IMO SMCP standard phrase. Silence fini, meaning silence fini. It's finished. The distress termination signal. Okay? That is the official declaration that the emergency resolution is complete already. Alright? So, officially, it lifts mandated radio silence. So, the air traffic now returns to its normal operational conditions. That's how we are going to end the distress situation. Okay? There is a silence. Fini. Okay. We have emergency equipment used during Mayday situations. Yes, of course, we have that. Okay, the equipments to use. Okay. One is we have the VHF radio, this one. This is the voice and the DSC communications, meaning DSC, digital selective calling. This is the primary distress equipment. VHS marine radio operates as the critical communications line with channel 16, right? We have the 156.8 megahertz. Megahertz meaning this is um, the frequency used, all right, when we say megahertz. The frequency or the measurement used to quantify the frequency. Okay? Now, this is designated globally for distress, for safety, and for calling traffic. And another, we have the GMDSS integration. The DSC, the Digital Selective Calling. Okay? This coordinates automated digital alerts, no? And this one established an immediate contact with the shore coast, the GMDSS, and nearby shipping lanes. All right? So, basically, this is the essential command utility. Okay? The VHF. That's one equipment used. We have what we call the EPIRB, Emergency Position Indicating Radio Beacon. EPIRB, okay, this is a critical, okay, a legally mandated satellite distress beacon. Okay? That is used to alert search and rescue authorities. Now, in the event of a severe emergency at sea, such as a vessel sinking or a major disaster where crew members must abandon the ship, this one is very important. Okay, now how it works. Okay, this EPIRB transmits coded distress signals. This is via satellite and in the International COSPA-SARSAT system. Okay? Now, there are two types of this. We have the manual on how to activate na. We have the manual activation and the automatic. Okay, for the manual, the crew physically removes the unit from its bracket and it flips a switch, okay, and throws this one into the water, okay, or you can bring it into a life raft here. And the other kind or the other way on how to activate is the hydrostatic release or the automatic release. Okay, now if a ship's rapidly senses the water or the water pressure like for a depth of about 1.5 no, to 4 meters, it automatically cuts the bracket free. Okay? And then allowing the appear to flow to the surface, and it starts now transmitting signals on its own. Okay? So once the appear touches the water, it automatically releases signal. Okay? Once it touches the salt water. Okay? So that is appear, the second equipment. Okay, I'll just go back to GMDSS. Under the GMDSS, the Global Maritime Distress and Safety System, appear is classified strictly as a distress alert tool. Okay? That's the appear. Okay. For the search and rescue transponder, SART, we have sorry, two kinds. We have radar interrogator, the SART, and we have the AIS SART technology. Okay? Now, these two types have a distinctive use. All right? They almost look identical on the outside, but communicate using this two have entirely different methods. The radar interrogator, once activated, the SART units respond to sweeps from 3 centimeters marine radar arrays. Now, this one is designed to stand by for multi-day operations inside the life raft. Okay? The radar SART. Standby mode only. Okay. For the AISR technology, instead of interacting with radar, this AISR transmits digital positioning data over the standard marine AIS frequencies. Now, how it works? This AISR uses an internal GPS receiver to constantly calculate its exact position. And then it broadcasts this data, okay, and or the text, and it bursts automatically. Now, what the rescuers see? Okay, now in any nearby vessel equipped with standard AIS, will immediately see a unique icon on their electronic chart display. Usually a circle with an X inside, like this. Now it will display the text start active alongside with their GPS. Okay? So, this is, this both the radar interrogator and the AIS, although they are similar outside, but they have different in methods to use. Okay? SART, Search and Rescue Transponder. Okay, we also have life jackets and immersion suits. Okay, basically this is the life jackets to keep you afloat. All right. So in your basic training, this is all discussed, right? So a positive buoyancy, okay, makes you afloat. Okay? And then there's also a thermal insulation, what we call the immersion suit, this one, to keep you warm, this one. And then you also have locating aids, okay? Locating aids. We have the whistle, you have this reflective patch, this one, those are the reflective patch, and you have the flashlight. That those are the locating aids. All right? Also, we have distress pyrotechnics. This one. Okay. These are the distress or the visual distress flares. All right, this one. We have the day and night operation for this. And then there are color conventions for this. Okay? Distress pyrotechnics. This is a handheld flares. Red rockets, we have parachute flares, we have orange smoke signals here, okay? To call for help, okay? We have also firefighting infrastructure, okay? First is the portable extinguishers to put out the fire. In the kitchen, strategically place a CO2, a dry powder, and a foam canisters for swift control or localized galley, engine, or electrical fires. In the next discussion, I will um, discuss the types of fire, what are the fire extinguishers used in a separate discussion. So for now, I will just only discuss a bit of this. And then we also have fire hydrants, right? We have fire hoses that is high in pressure. Okay? We also have detection and alarm systems. Yes. Once there is a smoke that is detected, these alarm systems automatically activates. And also we have our firefighting outfits. Okay? This is a thermal protective clothing. Alright? There is a breathing apparatus included here to protect the crew. Okay? So all of these are firefighting infrastructure or equipments. Alright? Okay, we also have the first aid and medical gear. Basically, this is very important. We always have to have a medical kits and stretchers. Okay, the medical kits for emergency. A comprehensive medicine chests. Okay, the SOLAS, the Safety of Life at Sea, compliant medical box. And it contains everything: burn dressings, splints, the tourniquets, the emergency medications. Okay? And this one is designed for immediate maritime wound care, and it is always be a SOLAS or the Safety of Life at Sea compliant. Okay? Next is we have to have an evacuation stretchers, the Neil Robinson and the basket stretchers. Okay? So, in evacuation stretchers, rigid Neil Robinson or the basket type of stretchers, these two are designed for securing, no, and hoisting the injured crew from a tight spaces or in the deck areas. So we always have to have this evacuation stretchers. And of course, we have the oxygen and life support equipment. It should be portable. There is an oxygen here. Okay, there's the oxygen device. There's a regulator inside. There's a mask here inside. There's a cannula inside. And the resuscitating bag to treat a smoke inhalation victims or to stabilize the cardiovascular distress of the crew. Okay, we always have to have the oxygen and life support. And as a survival protocols, keeping the emergency medical supplies, we have to have it organized and always ready for managing a severe injuries or until we can reach the shore side medical advice, or we can until we reach the rescue arrivals, no, we have to have a fully equipped first aid and medical gears on board. Okay, so let's go to the real life emergency examples. Real life now. Okay, we have the passenger ship fire. Now, the scenario is alpha, thermal emergency. There's an immediate distress on board, right? So when the fire breaks out, it spreads rapidly on board. Okay? Now, the bridge team must immediately declare a state of Mayday to initiate external mobilization because it reaches already to the alpha thermal emergency. Okay? Also, like the structured action. So the crew members now here will execute emergency fire containment. Like for example, if this area is the one is where the fire breaks out, you have to contain this area. All right away. And then you have to coordinate with the life-saving operations to prepare the passenger or the other crew and go to the muster station. And worst is the safe evacuation, like for a passenger vessels. The passengers here are evacuated safely to the lifeboats. Okay? While regional search, okay, and rescue vessels provide immediate standby assistance, like for this one. So if the passenger ship fire, like for example here, and it reaches to the Alpha thermal emergency, call for an immediate distress right away. Another, for a cargo ship collision, and it reaches to the Bravo structural damage. When we say cargo ship collision, there is a high impact of flooding. There is a dense fog risk. Okay? The critical action here is that the master should right away or immediately call for a Mayday transmission broadcast over the DSC or the VHF channel 16 to alert the regional traffic. Okay? And there should be a quick response from the Coast Guards because it reaches now to a Bravo structural damage because of a cargo ship collision. Okay, another real life scenario. The fishing boat sinking and it reaches to a Charlie stability failure. Maybe there's an extreme storm distress because the fishing boat is already sinking. There's a severe weather capsize in this situation. There's a sudden rough seas, a violent rough weather condition. So, the tendency is, might be, it might capsize. Okay? So, you have to send a distress alert or call. Okay? Remember APIRM? That's it. That is if before being forced to abandon the vessel. And also, we have here the Unified Maritime Rescue. Maybe there's a nearby vessel, commercial ship, or any ship, okay, that responds to the broadcast. Okay? And the rescuer or the commercial ship nearby successfully recovers all the survivors from the life raft. Okay? Another real life scenario. The engine failure in a stormy weather that reaches to delta or propulsion loss. And there will be a propulsion blackout crisis. Imagine that. You have no engine because there's an engine failure in a stormy weather. The result is dead ship. You will suffer a complete engine blackout. Okay? Possible you will lose all the steerage and dynamic position controls here. Okay? And there will be a dangerous in drifting. The wind, the currents, the waves, the emergency towing. Okay? Here, the bridge transmits a mayday requesting for an immediate salvage assistance. Okay? Because mainly of the engine failure during stormy weather condition. Now, for the medical evacuation, the Medivac, it reaches to scenario echo, the life safety evac. High priority offshore Medivac. In this situation, you will call for a mayday if an onboard crew member suffers a sudden severe heart attack. Okay? In this type of situation, the ship, of course, lacks advanced a surgical facility to stabilize the patient. So you call for a mayday because there's already a human life threatening situation. Now, the priority evacuation, the vessel transmits a medical distress, a priority call to the local Coast Guard centers to request for an immediate airlift. Okay? So, the search and rescue helicopter now conducts a high precision winch, okay, evacuation to transfer the crew or the patient directly to the shore hospital by using the helicopter. Okay? Airlift is the word for this. Okay? Another real life situation. Pirates. Piracy emergency case that reaches Foxtrot security breach. There are armed hostile threat. Okay? They can easily board fast. Okay? Even a merchant ship in high-risk waters, they can possibly attempt to board. So, the crew, okay, trigger the security alert system, okay, and broadcast a high priority mayday call. Alright? Piracy emergency case. Call for a mayday. Next. Mayday vocabulary and maritime terms. Okay. I'll give examples of a Mayday vocabulary terms. First, rescue. When we say rescue, this is a serious and imminent danger. It needs immediate assistance. All right? Rescue. Next, we have tactical operations. You are preserving life at sea. Okay? The word rescue represents the organized physical operation of retrieving and securing the survivors from a compromised vessel or from a compromised life raft that is directly from the sea. That's what rescue means. Okay? Another Mayday vocabulary words. Word evacuation, meaning you are going to move to a safety location. Whether if it is aerial rescue or a survival craft evacuation. Alright? You are moving to a safety location, whether aerial or survival craft. Another term, abandon ship. This is the final command wherein only the responsible person to announce abandon ship is the master or the ship's captain. The final command. Meaning, there is a severe crisis action. The last option. It requires immediate action. Alright? Abandon ship. Another word, collision. Meaning, high impact events. As you can see here in the picture, severely damaged hull. Okay? There's a physical impact, high impact collision. There is a high force contact between two moving vessels. Alright? This is dangerous. That's collision. We also have flooding. Okay? There is a water ingress crisis. And it might cause a catastrophic stability loss once there's a water ingress. Call for a mayday right away. Another, there's a fire emergency, meaning there's a thermal threat, uncontrolled fire on board. You need an external help for this. Alright? Fire emergency. Okay. For the search and rescue, the SAR, okay, that is the international operations, no, to find or stabilize and retrieve individuals in a distressed sea. Okay? We have the GMDSS technologies, the APIRBs, the SAR radar, all right? And their RCCs. So those are the equipments. Okay. I guess the importance of May Day is first the gravity of a distress call. How the 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 importance or how distress call is important. You cannot question, no, how distress call is what do you call this, how a distress call is imposed, no, you cannot question that because it is a matter of human life threatening and a vessel, there's an imminent danger of the vessel itself. Okay, so the gravity of a distress call is really important. And in your onboard experience, emergency training is very important. The readiness of the crew. Okay? Once the training is conducted every month or every other month, it builds confidence to the crew. Okay? It improves how they respond to the situation. And it reduces panic, of course. And the teamwork, no? It improves their coordination with each other. That's why emergency training is very important and it builds a muscle memory to each crew on board. Okay? That's why it's very important, the training on board. And each seafarers have their responsibilities. Firstly, you have to follow the procedures. You have to maintain the discipline. And you have to protect and support each other. So these three are your main responsibilities. We will not just purely rely on the instructions of the senior officers or the master. We ourselves have also responsibilities. Okay? We have to follow procedures, of course. You have to maintain the discipline. We have to protect and support each other. So, each and everyone on board have our own responsibilities. Now, for the last topic is our question and answer. Okay? So, for question number 1, what is the primary purpose of Mayday signal? What do you think? Okay, it's letter B. To indicate that a vessel is in a grave and imminent danger and requires immediate assistance. That is the primary purpose of Mayday, right? Okay, next. For number 2, which channel, okay, is standard for VHF Marine radio distress communications? It's so very easy. We did not discuss any numbers in our lesson except for, yes, of course, it's letter C, the channel 16, the distress signal channel. Okay, now What is an appear used for in an emergency? Yes, what appear? Okay. Basically, appear sends distress signal via satellite, right? Okay, it's via satellite. And for question number 4, why is repetition used when sending a Mayday message? Okay, I'm sure I discussed that. Yes, to indicate that a vessel is in grave and imminent danger and requires immediate assistance. That is the reason why we always have to repeat in sending Mayday messages. Message, I mean. All right, are you still there, participants? Okay, so for number 5, what is the main function of search and rescue transponder? The SART. Okay, is it A, B, C, or D? It allows rescuers to locate the survival craft using the radar systems. Okay, for number 6, now if a vessel is unable to continue transmitting a mayday, what is the next step? Okay, is it A, B, C, or D? So what do you think, everyone? If you were unable to continue transmitting the mayday, what is your next step to do? Another station should relay the mayday message. Yes, it is allowed. It is allowed. Now, for number 7, which of the following is a core responsibility of a seafarer during a mayday situation? A, B, C, or D? Okay, it's A. Maintaining discipline and following established procedures. That is the core responsibility of a seafarer during a mayday situation. You maintain the discipline and then you follow the established procedures. All right? Now, for number 8, what does abandoned ship signify? Oh, it's so very easy. It's A, B, C, or D. What does abandoned ship signify? It is an order to leave the vessel because it cannot be saved. The final decision of the master of the ship or the captain. Okay? When you hear abandoned ship, you leave the vessel because it cannot be saved. The final decision. Alright, for number 9, what is the benefit of emergency training and drills? So, why do you think? Why do you think you have to conduct emergency training and drills on board? Is it A, B, C, or D? Alright, it's letter B. They help reduce panic and improve the speed of the crew. And it builds memory. It builds muscle memory. If you kept on doing the emergency training and drills on board. Now for number 10, why is standard maritime or English essential during emergency? Why do you think it is important? Why it is essential to learn maritime English, the standard maritime English? Is it A, B, C, or D? It's letter D. Because international language prevents misunderstandings between multinational crews. Like if you have mixed crew on board, meaning you have two to three nationalities on board and all have different languages, right? That is why IMO made the SMCP in order to have a standard maritime phrases to follow, to use, especially during emergencies. Okay? So that's our last question. All right. So now, thank you everyone. Our distinguished officers, our crew, our participants, especially from the Gimyang Shipping Seafarers Union, we have officially reached the end part of our lesson today in our Maritime English course. Okay? And last Monday, you all put in a tremendous effort. Really, and it has been incredibly rewarding to see everyone engage so actively in upgrading their communication skills. Okay? Now, as we wrap up, we must once again, or I must once again express my sincere appreciation to the Gumyang Shipping Seafarers Union. So this successful program would not have been possible without the steady support and of course the commitment to your professional growth, no? So by investing in this training, the union has shown how deeply they care about their safety, their career advancement, and their success on the global stage, right? And so, to all the participants, congratulations everyone. The knowledge you've gained here will not only make your daily operations smoother, but will also keep you and your crewmates, of course, safe at sea, right? So carrying these skills, of course, with pride as you board your next vessels. So thank you everyone who made this course a success for the May Day lesson. And a final big thank you to you all, Gumyang Shipping Seafarers Union, for making it all happen. So, wishing you all a smooth seas and safe voyage ahead. I'll see you all again a week after for our next lesson about SMCP. Alright? So, thank you everyone and have a good day ahead. Okay, again, this is your teacher for today, Teacher Shelly. I'll see you all again a week after. Bye!